Today on the podcast, we are talking about the Super Bowl and NBA AllStar game. Two events, possibly one opinion. We shall see. Frame on 8 podcast starts right about now.
It's a frame of mind. The way that you think, the things that you say, shape it all. It's a frame of mind. Ways to improve the things that you do overall. It's a frame of mind. It's what you say.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Frame on 8 podcast. Your boy Simbawi Anybody Jr., aka TK. Along with my man Omar Williams, we call him O, and Denise Obi, we call her D Nice. Y'all say what's up to the peeps.
What's up, peeps?
Hello.
It is another lovely Wednesday morning, and y'all know how we do. We get things started and popping bright and early. But before we do, it is Affirmation Wednesday, and we're going to get those in and out the way to get your day started. So if you got them written down, memorized, or what have you, let's get those in and out the way and get the day started. Are you ready? Here we go. Today will be a good day. Today will be a great day. Today will be an amazing day. Today will be an awesome day. Today will be a phenomenal day. Today will be a stressless day. Today will be a stress-free day. Today I will overcome all barriers that want to block my progress. Today all circumstances, issues, and situations will work in my favor. Today all things will line up for my good. I will become better than who I was yesterday. I am a go-getter. I am victorious. I am triumphant. I am an overcomer. I never lose. I either win or I learn. I take authority over this day. I will dominate this day. I will conquer this day. And everything I have spoken into this day will happen as I have affirmed, because I am more than a conqueror. Let's get it started. So, no intros needed. We're going to jump straight on in. So, if you're getting the replay of this via video, you can catch us again on our Facebook page, LinkedIn page, and our YouTube page. On LinkedIn, it's really my page on LinkedIn, but you catch us there. If you're getting the audio of this, we are streaming pretty much everywhere. But we also have our own website. So if you're not a streamer and you're more into websites, catch us on our website at FFMpodcast.com. FFMpodcast.com. We've got two Eagles fans here, and I'm going to back off and let them have their morning glory for the day. Because we had Super Bowl 2 weeks ago, just about now, and we had a very interesting game that I did not see coming. Fast forward from kickoff to halftime, score is 24-0. And even though the score is 24-0, I was not convinced that the game was over. I said, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's 14-11. So we got to see what's going to happen in the second half. And y'all know what I'm talking about. 14-11 means it's the 11 guys on the team for the Chiefs and the 3 refs. Okay? I'm going to make it nice and plain. Okay? I'm thinking, all right, by the time third quarter is over, it's going to be 24-24. Okay? That's what I'm thinking, right? And that's not what happened at all. The Philadelphia Eagles had a dominant performance against the Kansas City Chiefs. And even though the score was 40-22, the actual score was 40-6. Let's put that in perspective right now. The actual score was 40-6. The 2 touchdowns that they had and 2-point conversions and all that, like, that's cool. That's great. They came what we got to call garbage time. But if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure Owen Denise will elaborate on this, I believe the Eagles pulled their starters on defense. So, yeah. So I'm gonna let y'all rock out. Y'all, whatever y'all got to say, y'all go ahead. Number one, get all your feels out there. You know, props to the Eagles, props to Jalen Hurts. I will say, actually, you know what? I'm gonna let y'all talk first, and I'm gonna come back. So, Philadelphia Eagles fans, D Nice and O, y'all had a flow.
All right. So I'm so happy that my Eagles won. It was a great game. Before I give a shout out to my Eagles, I have to give a shout out to Xavier Worthy because he carried the Chiefs the whole game, scoring that touchdown for them, or else it would have probably still been a 0 point score for them. Glad I only saw Taylor Swift one time. I know it's not her fault, but we only saw her one time that whole game. So glad for that. But back to my Philadelphia Eagles. I think that was one of the best games we ever played, and I think that's where we showed up the best and the most this whole season, which is good because that was like the most important game for us. Hurts did his thing. I think he was out there even better, ready to play, ready. Defense was even better. Give it out to Saquon Barkley, as you may know him as Saquon Barkley, but we got to give it out to him for
Big
also
shot.
doing his part. But everybody came together for this to be a phenomenal win, and we deserved it. And the city of Philadelphia, including me, even though I don't live in Philadelphia, but we deserve that win. So I'm glad. And I'll probably have more later, but go ahead. Oh,
Well, again, I would like to give it up for the team, the organization.
yes.
They have a great leadership. They got great ownership. They got great GM from top down. They've been doing it for the last, I'll say, 8 to 10 years. They've been consistent. They've had like their last 3 years of draft picks. All of those guys contributed in this Super Bowl. That's big. So that saves you money. That saves you. You can breed them in your system. Like you don't have to get somebody from outside. So you getting all in house guys who are playing and contributing. So like I said, they're doing a great job. I come from the times of the '90s where we were horrible. We had Rich Kotite, Ray
oh,
Rhodes.
oh man, Rich
I'm
Ooh,
Kotite and Ray Rhodes. Oh my goodness.
I've been rooting since then, man. That's why, like, I look now, I'm like, it's a lot of fans. I didn't see these guys yelling when I was younger, but we got room. TK, you can come home too, but I'll let you live. I'll let you breathe. But you can always. It's always a door open. But hold on, let me.
always,
finish.
always,
Listen,
always.
You go.
don't let the draft hit you
Don't
with
let
a
it.
good low picture. All right, it's all good.
Hey, that
But
draft. So,
Jalen Hurts though, they got to start putting a little bit more respect on my guy's name. I'll be the first to apologize on this podcast. I used to say I don't think he's it. He's the guy. He may not have the arm like others or the like reading like breaking down a defense like others, but this guy's a winner. He's a leader, and he's been doing it. You make it to the Super Bowl two times out of your last 3 years starting. That has to count for something. So again, one last thing. I think we got the best defense the Eagles ever seen of all time.
Really,
Including Gang Green, this is the 24
really,
birds.
hold up.
Like they say, 85
wow.
Bears, this is the 24 birds.
I did not see that coming either. Oh my,
All
okay. So you mean
Shout out
so
to
you're
them.
telling me, Reggie White, Seth Joyner, all of them. This is better than any of those defenses.
as a unit, yes. Maybe
Okay,
not players, but as
but
a
as a
unit.
unit, okay, I can dig that. As a unit, I can dig that. Okay, I
Yeah.
just thought you were saying like, man, like
No.
we just gonna dismiss all of them.
No, 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 no.
No,
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 no.
no,
Okay,
no.
No. But as a cohesive unit, again, these guys got time to become the Reggies and
yeah,
the Jeromes and the Seths. Let's relax. I'll relax. But the numbers say this right here is the best defense we've ever seen.
got you. I can rock with that as
Yeah.
a cohesive unit. I can rock with that, and I think the numbers say it, and the eye test will tell you the same thing.
That's just the same. Yep.
I dig it.
Yep.
Okay. So real quick, again, props to Jalen Hurts. I was also one that said that was skeptical of like whether or not he was going to be the guy for this team. But when you start looking into his history, Jalen Hurts from high school, college to the NFL had not had a offensive coordinator for consecutive years. It was always somebody different. So it was always a change for him. So that was one thing he had against him, right? So it wasn't necessarily his play. It was we didn't see the behind the scenes stuff, right? And like O said, he may not have the numbers that a Joe Burrow, a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes is going to have, right? But he does win. You know what I mean? And that accounts for something, you know? So that's cool. The one thing I was going to say before is that I don't think, this is me talking out loud, I don't think the two best teams were there. I think that there was one team that belonged there, the Eagles, but I don't believe that the Chiefs were the second best team that should have been there. Now, I may cause some controversy here, but you know
Talk about
what?
it.
It's okay because when you look at the Chiefs season, and listen, I'm not hating on the Chiefs. They're going to win another one. They might win next year. Who knows? I don't know. But when you look at the season, there's a lot to be said. And I'm not going to say all of it here on this podcast. We got to get to the AllStar game too. But I will say this. There was some help with them getting where they got to be. Now, that's not saying that there were some games that they actually won. There were
Yes.
some games they actually won.
Right.
But if you look, it's kind of like, did they win that game or were they helped in winning that game? And I said this on our previous podcast when we talked about what was going to happen. And I said that the Eagles have to either blow them out or they're going to have to make sure that the Eagles have the ball last to win the game. I was not expecting that kind of blowout. Meaning, when I said blowout, I mean you got to beat them by at least 3 touchdowns. Clearly, it was way more than 3 touchdowns that they won by.
Mhm.
And so I was very surprised at how dominant the Eagles were in this game from the first kickoff to the very end of the game whatsoever. The Casey's offensive line looked like they just did not know what to do, as if they were just shell-shocked at what was happening. Andy Reid, I was surprised there was no counters to what the Eagles were doing. It just seemed like the whole team was lost, and it almost made me feel like, did y'all prepare for this? Or did y'all think this is going to be kind of this? We're just going to skate through this and win. So I don't know. But what I will say is this: is that the city of Philadelphia, you guys deserve it. I'm not sure how the how the businesses and the streets were afterwards. I do know that Philadelphia, the parade was jam-packed full of people. Not my crowd. I think there might have been over 1 million people that were there. But well deserved. Well deserved. Anything else you guys want to say about the game, how things went before we move on?
Yes. Shout out to Howie Roseman for going down to Georgia to recruiting 80% of our D line. So that's why we are today. So shout out to Howie Roseman for that. I think overall this was definitely actual Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and not the Eagles versus the refs. I stand by that. Thank you.
And she approves of this message. There you go.
For that message.
Anything else you got? Oh,
Yeah, man. I'll just say this, man. It's hard to scheme when they're beating you. Like again, if you just watch it, they were very disciplined. Like especially the defense. The defense stayed disciplined. They stayed in their lanes,
Yep.
and they didn't need help. Like so, I say this about football: if you have to cheat to win, and I'm not talking about the refs. I'm just talking about like scheming to cheat. Like sometimes you cheat and lean one way or the other way to help stop one thing. So, to give you a quick example: the Chiefs cheated to stop Barkley. Every time Jalen Hurts was about to hike the ball, they had safeties coming down to put more people to stop the run. Well, guess what happens? You open up the 2 wide receivers to have the day they had, and they never adjusted. It was almost like their game plan was stop I was about to say Shayshawn. Stop Saquon Barkley.
Say Sean.
Stop Saquon Barkley at all costs, and we don't believe in Jalen Hurts. They literally were telling the world he got to beat us, and he did. So, I mean, the Eagles were beating them man up, man for man, no cheating, just playing football, and they couldn't block him. They didn't blitz all game, but they sacked him like 6-7 times.
Yeah,
that stat is phenomenal.
yeah.
Phenomenal stat.
They didn't
I will
prepare.
say this too, man. Like, I think Mahomes got hit more in that game than he did all season.
All season.
And he got. I could be wrong, but I think he got sacked more in that game than he did all season.
Yeah.
There was nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. Running game was non-existent. The passing game didn't do much of anything until the fourth quarter when the Eagles had put in their backups. And then they didn't cross the 50-yard line until I think the fourth quarter. That's amazing.
Worthy.
They didn't cross the 50-yard line until the fourth quarter when they, correct me if I'm wrong, when they threw that touchdown pass, the first touchdown pass they threw. I think that was the first time they crossed the 50-yard line, I believe. Right. I could be wrong. But still, for a Chiefs team that went through this whole season doing what they did, to not cross the 50-yard line the entire game until the fourth quarter, that's monumental. And then getting back to the Saquon Barkley thing, like their game plan for Saquon Barkley actually worked. It actually worked.
Yep.
It worked big time. Everything else is what came crashing down. Like they stopped the run. Like Saquon might have only had 58 yards, maybe if that off of what, 20 carries? And it's like, okay, your defensive scheme worked.
For him.
But everything for him. Yeah. Everything else fell apart. Everything else fell apart.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, let's look at one thing. Number one, the Chiefs are gonna be back one way or the other. Now, I'm not sure if they'll be who they used to be, but they'll be back. And I'm not sure. And being back might be like, hey, can they win another one? Can they get there again? Yeah, I believe so. Will they win another one? I'm not sure, but they will definitely get back eventually. But this here was a demoralizing loss after you've won 2 straight. You're going for a third. Very hard to do in the NFL. No team's ever done 3 in a row. And so I think that the pressure ultimately is what got to them. Because once you're down 24-0 at halftime, it's kind of like, all right, the Chiefs, they'll figure it out. And they just never did. Like, it never even came close to being figured out. So, mad props to the Eagles. You deserve it. You clearly, on paper and on the field, were the best team in the league.
Yep.
I would have liked to have seen the Eagles in Detroit play.
Me too.
In the NFC Championship game.
Me too.
I just think that Detroit, they are who they are. The coach is who he is. He's going to coach that way no matter what. And I respect him for it. I respect him for saying, look, 4th down, we're going for it no matter what. As long as it's within on our side on their side of the field, or if it's like 4th and 1, their side of the field, like I trust my defense. But again, when it gets playoff time, like be who you are, but also make adjustments knowing that it's playoff time. Like you got to make those adjustments to say, okay, we're playing this team. We know what they do. We know what we do. But when it's time to make a decision, and again, I'm not an NFL coach. I do coach, but I'm not an NFL coach. But everyone knows that adjustments need to be made when it comes playoff time. Because playoff time, that's a whole nother season. Like regular season and playoffs, 2 different seasons.
Right.
So you got to make adjustments for a different season that now has heightened expectations. So we'll see what happens next year. But congrats to the Eagles. You deserve it. And we'll see what happens next year. Are you looking for an apparel company that's positive, uplifting, and truly cares about you? Then look no further. Frame of Mind Inc., an apparel brand company, impresses on individuals to think positive thoughts, say positive things, and do positive deeds. Get positive apparel, such as t-shirts, hoodies, and wristbands for children, teens, and adults in various colors and sizes. Customized services include logo and t-shirt design, screen printing, and embroidery for individuals, families, schools, profit, and nonprofit organizations. You can reach Frame of Mind Inc. at 302-689-3499 or visit their website at www.frameofmindinc.com. Frame of Mind Inc. Think it, speak it, achieve it.
It's a frame of mind.
Transitioning to the NBA All-Star game. I'm going to say this and let y'all have the floor. I have not watched the NBA All-Star game in the past 5 years. I'm going to get that out of the way right now. The past 5 years, I have not watched the NBA All-Star game. As a matter of fact, I forget when it's coming on. That's how much I've not paid attention to it. Not to mention the skills challenge and all of that. Like, I hear about the All-Star game, all the publicity and the commercials, but it's not like on my calendar to say, oh, the NBA All-Star game is this weekend. Let me make sure I watch. I think the last one I watched might have been 4 years ago, I believe, possibly. And when the All-Star game was kind of just going and dwindling down, where you had the lack of defense, lack of effort, lack of players doing, what was going on, dunk contests being lackluster. 3-point contest, I think that still has some spice to it, especially last year with Steph Curry and the WNBA kind of coming together doing their thing. Doing that again this year would have been nice too. The skills challenge, that is what it is. But everyone knows the dunk contest was always the highlight of the All-Star game weekend outside of the game itself. And for the past 3 years, my man McCullough, listen, I don't care what anybody says. As of the past 3 years, he is the best dunker the NBA does not have.
McClung.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, McClung. Yep.
He is the best dunker the NBA does not have. Regardless of John Morant, regardless of Zion or LeBron or anybody else, Ant Edwards, because they have not competed in the dunk contest, so they can't say they're better than he is. He has won the past 3 years. Shortest guy on the floor who is not an NBA player. And I think at this point, he understands, and the NBA organization understands, he draws the crowd for that Saturday. And so the question was asked to him, will you come back next year? His response was, if they want me bad enough, I'll come. That was him marketing himself.
Yeah,
because now he understands,
Price
y'all
goes
need
up.
me.
Yeah,
Y'all need me.
Yeah.
for views.
So if they want me bad enough, I'll come back. But we'll see. Right? The All-Star game, again. The format they had this year, cool. Again, I didn't watch. I saw highlights and all that stuff, and I saw the sports, news casters talking about it, but I didn't watch. But evidently, from what I've heard and what I've seen, there was more effort. But at the same time, it's just, okay, is this the end of the All-Star game? Or is it the end of it how we known it? Is it going to transition to something else? What are your thoughts?
So
No.
I'll say this: I haven't watched the All-Star game since Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon.
That's the last one. Yeah.
That was like the last of the old way, like where the dunk contest was great with 2 stars, right? Like 2 actual players, good dunks. 3-point contest is always good. I don't think that's ever bad because 3-pointer's a 3-pointer, right? And then the game was okay. I don't know how long ago that was. That might have been what, 8?
That's
maybe
like
8 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So the game now, I don't even, like I said, I go on YouTube and get the 6-minute version of the dunk contest, the 6-minute version of the 3-point contest, and I don't even care about the game at this point. I heard that this year they did like what they do, like OGs versus young guys or something like that.
OGs against rookies.
And then one they're like a European team too, or am I making that? It was like a
I think there was talk about that. But that
Okay.
hasn't happened yet. It was 2 OG teams and I believe 2 rookie teams.
Right. Which the concept makes sense because the younger guys are going to try to outshine the older guys, which will make for a tougher fight. But again, man, I do believe it's going to go in a direction where it's not going to exist anymore. They'll just do skills challenge, like pretty much like the NFL did. And it's NFL and somebody NFL and is it hockey?
I think it's hockey.
Make a long story short, these guys make so much money they don't even want to be involved no more.
Yeah.
So now it's just let me do skills challenges, which is fine. I don't need to see the NBA All-Star game anymore. Like, and you know they're gonna blame this on, and I'll be done. This is gonna be LeBron's legacy, and I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Denise.
I say I didn't watch much of it. I only watched the highlights, and pretty much the only highlights I saw, I thought it was a comedy show because it was Kevin Hart and Drewski and all them like cracking jokes and doing their thing. And then I saw it was a fan going against and he won like $20,000, I believe.
Something like that. He won something.
I forgot who he went against, but he ended up beating the pro player, and that was all I saw. And I was like, well, the last time I really watched it was when Aaron Gordon was shooting, but other than that, it's not the same anymore. Like it's just marketing, and I think that's what a lot of sports has become now. It's just marketing. So it's not there's not much love in the game as it used to be.
Well, I'll say this: long gone are the David Stern days. That's what I'll say. Now, listen, no shade against Adam Silver whatsoever. No shade against him. Adam Silver has taken the game to new heights. He's done a great job. I think that he was the perfect predecessor to David Stern. But when it comes to the brand and the respect for the organization, long gone are the days of David Stern. Like David Stern did not play. Like his rules were the rules he had in place. They were in place to say this is what you represent. This is how things are going to go, and this is what it's going to be. Now you could say he ruled with an iron fist. Some say that it wasn't an iron fist. Some say that it was all about the brand and what the brand needed to do was what he felt needed to happen. And that's what, I mean, when you work for an organization, it's about the brand. It's not about you, the individual. It's about the brand that you are representing. One thing I will say, I saw this on Clutch Sports, and I saw that, and I'm not sure if this is correct or not. I just know I saw this Clutch Sports. I think they're pretty reputable. All right, but it said that the commercials and breaks were 2 hours and 26 minutes. Yeah. The All-Star game minutes were 33 minutes and 41 seconds.
I have to add a point to that.
If that is the
back to the market,
if there's truth to that, that is a crying shame.
Yeah,
that the commercials and breaks were an hour and a half longer than the game footage. That's sad. That's sad. Go ahead, D-Nice.
I'll say, also talking about commercials, we got to go back to the Super Bowl for a second. I think this was the worst year for commercials overall in the Super Bowl. And I just had to say that about commercials. But it's back to the marketing thing as well. It's marketing. It's to bring money. It's to bring fame, publicity. It's not really about the game anymore. It's just marketing and who I can get, which celebrity I can put in front of the camera to make this brand go viral or do whatever I want. Mr. Beast, he's making his own ploy, so it seemed like he was taking over most of the celebrity game. So it's just marketing. I don't think it's a game anymore.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
Again, as a basketball fan, I'll say this. I would rather watch college basketball than the NBA any given night. Any given night. And listen, while the NBA is still making money, like there may not be that many changes come because it's like, well, we're still making money. We're still selling out. Like, why make any really harsh changes? But the question does become, the numbers are lower than what they were in the past. And you don't want to wait for something to happen before you make a decision to make things better. And Adam Silver had a press conference either last night or today, and he said, I'm not going to say that there's not ever going to be room for improvement, but I like the state of which the NBA is in right now. I think there is truth to that. He does like the state of where it is because it is a global game. But I will say this is that if you wait to make changes and wait for something to happen and go down before you make those changes, you're asking for a hard comeback. Because watching First Take today, Stephen A. Smith said, I like to see where we had the U.S. against the internationals for an all-star game and see who wins. Because international players in their countries, they play with pride. They're going to play to win. And they'll come out there and say, oh, let's just give them a show. No. Like, those countries are like, no, you play to win, you play with pride, period. Is that what our team is going to do? I don't know. I would hope so. But, overall, I think that it's possible, and I'll give Kendrick Perkins props for not him, Shannon Sharp props for this. He said the All-Star game might have run its course, and that may be possible, very possible. So.
Get your mind right. Get your mind right. It's a frame of mind.
Anyway, any other last thoughts before we go on the Super Bowl or the All-Star game or both before we kind of wrap this up today?
I'll say this. I'll say this about the Super Bowl. I have a saying that says it's not if you win, it's how you win. So if you looked at the Chiefs all year, they weren't winning the greatest, and I thought they were going to get kicked out in their first game in the playoffs, but they ended up making it, which it could have been the other three players that they have. So, so yeah, it's not if you win, it's how you win, and I think it all just came to a head at the end of the year for them, and they got blown out. So that's my conclusion.
Okay. Denise?
So my last two for the NBA All-Star game, I think they should treat it like the Olympics, and maybe every 2 to 4 years they have it and kind of build up the momentum of that, so then it doesn't become watered down. And then last about the Super Bowl, some more of the like football overall, and this is no disrespect to Josh Allen, but Lamar should have won MVP, and that's my point. Just saying it.
I second that.
Okay.
Just saying
Okay.
it. Yes.
Listen, I'm gonna make remarks on the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson thing. Based on the numbers, Lamar Jackson should have clearly won. Based on the team, Josh Allen deserved it. And I'll say that
That's a good point.
because Lamar had the team. You added Derrick Henry, who they didn't use correctly all season long. They had Derrick Henry. You had the receivers. You had the defense. He had the team. Josh Allen's expectations for the Bills, there almost weren't none because they got rid of, oh my gosh, what's his name? Call his name out to me again. Wide receiver.
Yeah, his brother plays for the Cowboys.
Got rid of Diggs, right? And everyone said, well, there's no number one receiver in Buffalo now. So it's now all on Josh Allen. Josh Allen exceeded all expectations, not to mention his numbers as far as interceptions were way down to what they actually were. Now, again, let me reiterate. If you're looking at numbers in totality, Lamar Jackson gets it. If you're looking at the most valuable player for their team, it goes to Josh Allen because he didn't have the team that he needed to get where they got. But I get what you're saying. The numbers said 900 yards rushing, over 4,000 yards passing, 40-something touchdowns, 5 or 6 interceptions.
6 interceptions.
Great numbers. Great numbers. But I got to give Josh Allen his props. I think that to a large degree, he earned it. But I think they could have had co-MVPs if they wanted to. Because one year we did have that before, co-MVPs, right? In the end, somebody's going to lose and somebody's not going to be happy, right? So, but I'll say this: if Saquon had broke the rushing record, he might have got it. He might have got it. And the conversation was, well, since he didn't play, you better win the Super Bowl. And that's what they did. So, and Saquon is happy with that. He's like, look, I got a ring. I'm cool with that. So, my last thought altogether, NBA All-Star game, from a totality standpoint, this is the way they're going to do it. And this is what the effort we're going to get year in and year out by putting the young guys against the veterans. Okay, keep it. If we're not going to get that effort, maybe it's time for it to go or to reformat it in a whole different way. Super Bowl, I will say this. Go Bengals. All right. So, listen, we got to keep T. Higgins. That's our main priority. Keep T. Higgins and keep Hendrickson. We good to go. That's it for today. Join us next time and continue to think it, speak it, and achieve it. And until the next podcast, myself, O, and Denise, we holla. Thank you for joining the Frame of Mind Inc. podcast. And as always, here at Frame of Mind Inc., think positive thoughts, say positive things, and do positive deeds. As our tagline says, think it, speak it, achieve it. See you next time.
It's a frame of mind. It's what you say and what you do.
Don't forget to check us out on the web at www.frameofmindinc.com, where you can browse our online apparel store, listen to some of our original music and production services, as well as view our videos and projects we've done for our clients and customers.